I'd like to call the Delaware County Commissioners meeting in order. It's Monday, May 21st, 2018. Time is 9 a.m. If everybody could stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Here.
Ms. Riggin?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here. We'll move down the table of business. Sherry, you did find somebody for the Yorktown Public Library Board,
Yes,
correct?
I'd like to nominate, remove this from the table.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to remove the Yorktown Public Library Board from the table. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Riggin?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes. You want to make a motion now to appoint her to the Yorktown Library Board?
Yes, I would, but I can't remember if I told you the right name or not.
You said Kim Pike.
Pike, yes, thank you. Kim Pike, I spoke to her this morning. She'd appreciate serving on the board for the library at Yorktown.
Do you make that a motion?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to place Kim Pike on the Yorktown Public Library Board. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Riggin?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes. Then we'll go back to table business. John, where are we at Medicaid for the inmates?
I'm waiting on some agreements from the state. They're going to revise them for me
Okay.
and send them to me so I can look at them, and hopefully by the next meeting or so.
Okay. Just leave that tabled. We'll move on to approval of minutes for May 7th, 2018.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Riggin?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes. Next, we have presentation to commissioners. Mr. Jason Donetti, update on Mississinawa River. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, everyone.
Is that on? Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to take a few minutes to talk about some plans for the Mississinawa River cleanup that we're reviving. And Commissioner Reagan also asked me to say a few things about Camp Prairie Creek that we're doing this summer as well. First, I'll start with the Mississinawa River cleanup. We formed a steering committee made up of some community leaders to try to revive Mississinawa River cleanup. We did a cleanup it was probably 6 or 7 years ago in Albany. We did 2 years in Albany and cleaned up a lot of debris. And then for whatever reason, we stopped doing it, and we're going to do it again. So there's lots of places, obviously, in Delaware County along the Mississinawa River. So the steering committee is currently trying to come up with the best location to pull off a one-day event. I have some flyers here. We have picked a date for August 18th, 8 a.m. to noon, despite some people wanting to start later. I think it'll be really hot out, and 8 a.m. might be the best time. But just for some save the dates, I'm going to leave some flyers up here with my contact info for anyone who's interested in participating in the steering committee, but also for people who want to volunteer. Maybe there's Boy Scouts, service clubs, anyone who's interested in cleaning up the river that day. The challenge with finding the exact location to do it at the moment is being able to make sure we have adequate parking, that we have a location to be able to drop canoes off, put canoes in and pull canoes out, and also trash spots where we can make sure we're pulling all the debris out so we can pick it up, get it into a large roll-off dumpster, those types of things. So we're looking forward to a great event. We're still coming together with all those details, and we could use as many volunteers as possible. Our goal is at least 50 volunteers for this first year, bringing it back, but eventually maybe we can look at enlarging it. In comparison, the White River cleanup we do every year in September, this is our 12th year of doing that. We've had up to 500 volunteers cleaning 15 miles of river. So it's a little larger, and it's a lot different because in the city you can walk along the banks a lot easier, to where out in the county it's you're in the river more. So, but eventually we would like to get this to an annual event where we're cleaning up the river, pulling out debris, tires, and all that type of stuff to make sure that people can enjoy and recreate on the river and not have to look at that type of stuff. So I'm going to leave the flyers over here for anyone in the audience who might be interested in participating. We're currently partnering with Delaware County Soil and Water Conservation District, the Mississinawa Watershed. Reached out to the environmental club at Delta High School. There's a couple other organizations, Keep Delaware County Clean, working with Flatland and Muncie Delaware Clean and Beautiful, who have a lot of the supplies to save money. We're hoping that too, we will provide lunch to any volunteers that participate that day. So mark your calendars, August 18th, 2018, 8 a.m. to noon, with the exact location drop off to be determined. And we'll create a Facebook page and stuff like that so people can share it and all that. So.
Jason, what's the age that you require them?
Age?
From 16 on, or?
No, I mean, we always say if you want to make it a family type thing, then that's fine, but just be aware that if you are in a canoe and you're navigating the river, toddlers and whatnot, it might be more challenging. To where just be aware of the obstacles that you can come across as a family. But we love for families to participate and get kids out there involved at an early age. But you will, for Mississinawa, most likely you will be directly in the water, in a canoe, putting trash into the canoe. And so a lot of times you're not even actually in the canoe floating. You put all of your trash in the canoe and walk beside it. So just be mindful of that when you think about your participation.
Thank you. And then the other good news you have for us today?
Yeah, we're doing our 10th, this is our 10-year anniversary for Camp Prairie Creek. We started Camp Prairie Creek 10 years ago, and this is the Stormwater Management Department. We started it 10 years ago when Tui Pool was closed because we wanted to offer kids an opportunity to go out to Prairie Creek Reservoir and swim during the hot summer. But we also wanted to utilize it as an opportunity to do environmental education related to our stormwater program and pollution prevention education. So this is our 10-year anniversary. It's a free camp. Muncie Sanitary District and Delaware County Stormwater Management come together to sponsor this camp. Last year we had 115 kids. It's the last week of July 23rd through 27th. We accept children between the ages of 1st through 8th grade. Across the county, so that's city and county. If you're in the city, we partner with MIDS and provide a free shuttle from Heacon Park to the location of camp that day, and then bring kids back to Heacon Park for parents to pick up. You can also drive your kids to the location that day. We usually have camp at multiple locations around the reservoir, on the beach, but we've also partnered with Red Tail Land Conservancy to have it out at the former Camp Muncie, which is called Muncie Woods now. It's the Girl Scout camp out there. And then we've also done some stuff at Camp Adventure and multiple other areas. But the theme is teaching kids about environmental education, how to be good stewards of the environment. We have IDNR and different visitors come in and share. They bring birds of prey, live animals, all kinds of things like that. We teach them how to fish with fishing poles and bait, and just do all sorts of science type stuff. It's kind of STEM related. So I just want everyone to know that that's free and open to the public, 1st through 8th grade. Applications will be on our website, munciesanitary.org, under the Camp Prairie Creek tab. They'll open up at the end of June, and it's first come, first serve. So you want to make sure you register as quickly as possible. And we'll probably try to accept 115 to 120 again this year, even though that it's causing me gray hairs. But it's an important opportunity for kids, and we love to offer that to the community. And this will be especially fun this year because it is our 10-year anniversary. So I do have flyers for that as well for anyone who's interested.
Well, we appreciate you coming up here. Jason's our educator for the stormwater, and appreciate the work you do.
Thank you for your support. Any other questions?
Good work. Thanks,
All right.
buddy.
Thank you. I'll leave these up here.
Thank you.
Next, we have contracts and agreements, joint use and maintenance agreement between the Indiana Department of Transportation and the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. Mr. Bookout?
Commissioners, good morning. Brad Bookout with Delaware County Economic Development. I did provide this to your council. They have reviewed it and approved it. This is regarding the Morrison Road sidewalks, and appreciate your support today.
I have reviewed this agreement, and Joe's reviewed an agreement in my office. It's pretty standard NDOT agreement. I don't see anything, an issue with it for the sidewalks on Morrison Road.
I make a motion we approve the joint use and maintenance agreement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Riggin,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next, we have interlocal corporation agreement between the town of Yorktown and Delaware County for street and road maintenance improvements.
This is an agreement that's been long-standing between the county and Yorktown, and I just revised the agreement with Angie's request to extend it out because it was entered into back in, 2012, 11, something like that. I've talked to Pete Olson about it. He's happy to have it. Yorktown would accept it. It's just it's continuation to cover the roads in Mount Pleasant Township.
This agreement came about when Yorktown reorganized with Mount Pleasant Township. So these roads that we are going to continue maintaining are outside of the Yorktown town boundaries.
Right.
So they'll continue to take care of the town. And I've spoke with Pete Olson as well, and he wishes to continue this.
I make a motion we approve the interlocal agreement with Yorktown.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Riggin,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes. Next, we have the Part 1 Railroad Spur Inspection of Railroad Grade Crossing Warning Equipment.
Commissioners, this agreement needs to be renewed. It expires June 1st, I believe. The agreement has not changed much. The rates are still the same, except for he added a line item for on-site repairs at $50 per hour, which I feel is very reasonable.
I make a motion we approve the agreement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Riggin,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have ordinances for second reading. Ordinance number 2018-004, an ordinance establishing a moratorium on certain uses within farming zones in Delaware County, Indiana.
Commissioners, this is the ordinance that was heard by the Planning Commission at its meeting a week or so ago, I believe it was, to establish a moratorium. Consistent with the comments that the Commissioners made at the last meeting, I've offered an amendment to this to change the 1-year moratorium length to October 1, as per your comments, so that would require the Planning Commission to make a decision on the CAFO regulation under the Planning Commission. So the first reading was conducted by the Planning Commission pursuant to the rules. This would be the second reading for adoption. You can make a motion to pass as amended to insert October 1 as the sunset date rather than 1 year.
I'll make a motion to adopt as corrected,
As amended.
as amended the 2018-004.
And just so we're clear, so there isn't no more confusion, this does not include the light permits that have already been granted.
It's my understanding that Mr. Light has received all the permits, local permits that from Delaware County that's necessary. So this would go into effect upon adoption.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Riggin,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes. Next, we'll move to department heads, elected officials. Mr. Rogers.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jason Rogers, Delaware County Emergency Management Director. I have an update for you. We met with William from Gov Deals, who was here several months ago, worked out a couple of issues that we had, and we're ready to start the process, or at least the first auction series, as we hope that there are many for surplus items. In your packet, you should have a list of items that we are going to try as our first auctions. And my question to you will be this, because I know that we've been talking with some of the other department heads and how we're going to manage this. When we have, maybe 30 or 40 different items or things, how do you just want a list brought to you? Do you want to go through them every time in the meeting? Because I think that could get lengthy. We've got nine or 10 items today, but this is just a sampling, so we can try the different types of auctions. We got a couple vehicles, we've got some heavy equipment, and some other equipment in lots. So it's kind of your preference. That's the last piece, is to have you declare these items as surplus. These are all items that have been deemed surplus from the departments and the department heads. And the process is then to get those items with the paperwork to myself or a deputy director, Catino, who's going to manage the site for us. It seemed a lot easier when William was here from Gov Deals. All of the department heads were here, and rather than, we just found it to be going to be a lot easier for us to have a single point of management rather than each department. However, we do have it set up. William was here last week, and we do have it set up specifically so when a department lists something, as they described, the funds that come back through auction will be addressed to that department. They will be sent to our office, and then we will disperse that because it comes with their name on it as we list it. So if it's, as an example, if it's a piece of heavy equipment for the highway department, the check will come to the Delaware County Highway Department.
Right.
And that's how it's listed on the auction.
Well, I appreciate you kind of heading this up for us, because it is very confusing. And it's
It's
only fair that it goes back to the fund that it comes from.
Sure, and it has been a little bit challenging. We ran into some digital issues just with the website, and that they actually sent William back here to work some of those things out. So we had a good afternoon with him and have it all worked out now, and we're ready to go. Plus, getting a list of those surplus items, that's not on everybody's priority list. So it's one of those things that we're trying to clean up shop just a little bit and to take the time to do that.
And it takes time to take
Yeah.
pictures and list everything, and I appreciate John helping you also.
So it just leaves the how do you want us? We'll present a list of items to you. Whether you want to go through them or not is kind of at your discretion.
I would like to see you have some big items here listed as far as vehicles goes. I like that, but when it comes to, let's say for instance, office equipment, I would just list it as miscellaneous office equipment, not each item.
Okay.
Make it easy for you.
Whatever. Like I said, this time we went through and actual serial numbers on anything that we could find, and we wanted to do it kind of both ways and see what's going to work. And then for you, for the record, obviously we put all of the detail in, and there are different formats. The big items, big ticket items, I'll call them, such as cars or heavy equipment, those types of things. That's another category of auction for them. So there's a ton of detail there. Plus, the other thing is we can always go back in and print off all of our old auctions. So if we are to be audited as to what did get auctioned off, we could print a spreadsheet off from day one, from auction one.
So as long as Charlie gets the sheet however he wants to work with you.
It makes no difference to me how you want to present it to you, but I just don't want to waste a bunch of time when we get 4 or 5 pages of surplus stuff.
I think what Commissioner Henry said would be fine.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. So I would just ask that the listing of items that you have today, do you want me to go through those?
I don't know, it's not necessary.
Okay.
I make a motion we approve Jason's list of surplus items to be auctioned by Gov Deals.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Riggin,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Thank you. We'll be back probably for the next couple of months, just updating you on the process and kind of how it takes place and how successful we are. So thank you.
Thank you for working on that. We appreciate it.
Any more department heads, elected officials? Everyone received their monthly and weekly reports from Weights and Measures. Move to payment of claims in the amount of $3,730,532.26.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Charlie, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Riggin,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes. Next, we'll move to public comments, and remember, the comments will be limited to 3 minutes.
Thank you for passing the moratorium. I think that it's important to have a moratorium in our county on these industrial operations such as CAFOs, considering we have no ordinance yet for them. I do want to ask, though, considering your verbal statement on performing due diligence in this matter, why the commissioners did not hold a special meeting after the Plan Commission approved the ordinance, why the commissioners did not hold a meeting to pass the ordinance before the red light building permits were issued.
Karen, I asked you to head this up. Did you know Monday night that they passed this?
yes.
Well, not really, but I thought it was kind of an understanding that we were going to grandfather Mr. Light in.
And I will apologize. Tuesday, I was with my wife. My wife had some health issues. I really didn't look at emails or anything that day. That day, I was taking care of my wife. Wednesday, I did look at one of my emails. I did send the attorney an email. The email went to the wrong email address. I asked for a special meeting on Wednesday. That could be my fault. But I did ask Ms. Riggin also to head this up for us. I don't want to put everything off on her, but I did send an email and it did go to the wrong address. And I finally was able to figure it out come Thursday, and by the time I did it Thursday, Monday would be the closest that we could have done it, because you have to have 48 hours to do this. So I guess I'll take part of the blame on it, but like I said, Tuesday I was with my wife with her health issues.
I understand, that those things happen and that life happens, but you have to understand that there's somewhat of a disappointment in the actions of our county commissioners performing due diligence, because this has been an issue that has been going on for many, many commissioners' meetings, and this sort of action was brought up several times, not acted upon, and then when it is acted upon and it is passed, it is done right before he was issued building permits. So there's certainly a feeling that we were given the runaround, and that's a real disappointment, not only for our group opposing this CAFO, but I feel for all the citizens of Delaware County, because it certainly, you have to know that it will lead to some sort of legal action. And I feel that it puts all of us in a bad situation as Delaware County citizens to have approved this without anything in an ordinance even recognizing this type of operation. So it's a real disappointment to us as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Linda Hansen, 1400 West North. I'm spokesperson for the...
Excuse me, but everyone needs to please sign in on the sheet.
Good morning. I'm Linda Hansen, 1400 West North. I'm spokesperson for the League of Women Voters, and you've heard from me before. I would like to echo everything that Jenny Irving said. The League is disappointed that you did not follow up as soon as the Metropolitan Planning Commission voted for the ordinance of moratorium. It does seem as if the citizens of this county have not been served well by your lack of due diligence this last week. This is an issue that has been before you for months. And we've been watching this, hoping that you would take into consideration everyone in this county as you made your decisions. So once again, I am deeply disappointed, and I hope that this ordinance that you finally do pass will address the kinds of issues that we need to have addressed for economic and health and safety issues in this county.
Good morning. My name is John Stevenson. Approximately a year ago, last year, we brought before this board a petition to have our roads repaved. And to the good side of it, they are done. They are beautiful. I commend Commissioner Riggin for following up on it. I also commend the Delaware County Highway Department or whoever takes care of that. The people were very professional in their work. They were very clean, very neat, and it's not often that you get comments of praise for a good job well done and for following up on what you've done. So I do appreciate it. The people of West Lawn also appreciate it. They've commented a number of times, and praise is not passed out enough these days. So we do thank you.
Thank you, John.
Did you sign in?
Yes.
My name is Richard Ramsey. I'm also from the same area that John is from. It's been a long time since we had a nice road, and I have people who come into our audition now want to know if we moved because it is so nice. And I can't thank you enough for the things you've done. It's nice to see the kids be able to ride their bicycles up and down the streets without having to dodge potholes. And I'll reiterate what John says. People who are in charge of things never get enough thank yous. They get a lot of complaints. So I do want to let you know I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we have nobody else, I'll entertain a motion to recess.
I'll make a motion to recess.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Recess.